Good afternoon to one and all. I welcome all the participants to the sixth day of 1 week virtual international lecture workshop on new advances in mathematical and computational sciences. It's my immense pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Professor S. Srinivas, Professor, Department of Mathematics, School of Advanced Sciences, Vellore Institute of Technology, Amaravati, Andhra Pradesh, India. Dr. S. Srinivas obtained his Master in Applied Mathematics and Doctoral degree from the National Institute of Technology, Warangal, India. Presently, he is professor at WIT Amaravati, Andhra Pradesh, India. Earlier, he has served as Senior Professor, Department of Mathematics, School of Advanced Sciences, WIT University, Vellore. He has nearly 32 years of teaching and research experience. His thrust area of research is mathematical modeling and fluid dynamics with emphasis on heat and mass transfer, nanofluids, Newtonian and non-Newtonian fluid flows, and biofluid flows. He has published over 110 research papers in national and international journals, and his publications have received more than 3,400 citations. His H index is 25 and I-10 index is 52. As a principal investigator, he has completed 3 major research projects sponsored by DRDO DST and National Board of Higher Mathematics. He has always served as the principal investigator for several major research projects funded by various agencies. As of now, he has supervised 9 PhDs and 4 MPhil scholars. Several research students are actively working under his guidance. He has actively contributed to the research community in several capacities, such as these adjudicator of PhD MPhil degrees, review to several notable international journals. Sir has attended and organized several workshops, FDPs, and conferences both in India and abroad. Star has very good administrative experience, division leader, fluid dynamics division, and WIT Vellore campus. Deputy Director Research, WIT Vellore campus. Dean of Research, WIT AP campus. Recently, he completed his term. Apart from Star's biodata, Star teaches very complex mathematical applications in engineering, which are used in our day-to-day life. I know this because of my son. He is studying BTech in WIT Amaravati under the guidance of Sir. I am sure that by the end of this session, we all are going to know more and more applications in engineering mathematics. Thank you, Srinivas sir, for accepting our invitation by the phone call for your hectic schedule. I request Srinivas sir to start your session.
Good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon.
At the outset, let me thank the organizers of the workshop, in particular the convener, Dr. Sunita, coordinator, Dr. M. Sridhar Babu, sir, and the head of the Department of Mathematics Division of the University, for giving me an opportunity to interact with the young participants. I don't think that I'm going to teach any fluid dynamics or any research problems and so on. My interest is to share some developments that took place in the domain of pulsating flows or oscillatory flows. So, with your kind permission, can I start, ma'am? Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then, are you able to see the slides, Professor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. See, my talk, some title I have to give, therefore I have given MHD oscillatory flows in a porous channel. In fact, my initial idea was to talk on oscillatory flows. Whenever I say oscillatory flow, I'm going to use pulse wave flow or oscillatory flow synonymously. Since my work deals with channel flows and pulsating flows that deals with nanofluids and so on, let me speak about a few words about the developments. My outline of the talk is as follows: a bit of introduction, topics that I'm going to talk about, oscillatory flows in a constricted tube, one or two problems I would like to discuss. These are the contributions of some other authors. Then pulsating flow of non-Newtonian nanofluid in a porous channel with magnetic field, a pulse type flow of hydromagnetic airing oval nanofluid through a vertical porous channel. Some references, list of applications and references. See, the pulse type flows in a channel or pipe have gained much interest, much attention because of its importance in biological and industrial applications, such as circulatory systems, respiratory systems, vascular diseases, reciprocating pumps, dialysis of blood in an artificial kidney, IC engines, pulse compressors, and so on. We also couple this with MHD. So the study of MHD flows in porous medium has attracted the attention of many researchers. This is due to a wide variety of applications for the MHD flows of non-Newtonian fluids in porous medium, which are encountered in irrigation problems, heat storage beds, biological systems, processing of petroleum and textile, paper and polymer composite industries, and so on. Numerous studies have been reported in the literature on various aspects of MHD flows of non-Newtonian fluid flows passing through a porous medium. Further, studies pertaining to non-Newtonian fluids are important because of its applications in biological sciences and industry, such as flow of blood, fluid mixing, and chyme movement in the intestine, paint, polymer solutions, flow of nuclear field slurries, and metals and alloys. Coming to the nanofluids, two of my investigations deals with nanofluids. The studies pertaining to nanofluids has attracted several researchers due to its applications in science and engineering, such as applications in biological or biomedical, antibacterial activity, nanodrug delivery, and so on, cancer therapy, electromechanical systems, industrial cooling, energy storage, solar absorption, and so on. Nanofluids are a new class of advanced heat transfer fluids, which are liquids containing a dispersion of micronic solid particles having diameter less than 100 nanomicrons. The term nanofluid was coined by Choi in 1995. We will be using base fluids and nanoparticles also. So base fluids include water, ethylene glycol, engine oil, kerosene, biofluids such as blood, and so on. And nanoparticle materials include oxide ceramics, metals, metal carbides, nitrates, metals, and so on. Ever since the first investigation of Omersley, Ichida, Sexel, and few others related to pulsating flow, several mathematical models, and of course with some experimental works were reported in the literature. If you look at the references that I'm going to show, the papers are scattered in robust journals in covering a variety of areas. Heat transfer in pulsating flow was reported by Haberman and published in Nature in 1954. Method for calculation of velocity, rate of flow, and viscous drag in arteries when the pressure gradient is known. This article appeared in Journal of Physiology in 1955. Later, Ichida studied the pulsating viscous flow superposed on the steady laminar motion of incompressible fluid in a circular pipe. The pulsating flow of plastic fluid is explored by Panthin and Deck. In recent times, the oscillatory in between several developments took place. Recently, oscillatory flow of blood in stenosis artery was investigated by Halder. Later, Sudan II studied a number of investigations pertaining to pulsating flows. One investigation is related to flow through a stenosis artery subject to a periodic acceleration. Later, Tada, Ushima, and Amani they have explored the problem of classification of pulsating flow patterns in curved pipes. Usha and Prema investigated the interaction of pulsatile and peristaltic transport induced flows of a particle fluid suspension. That is, the walls are extensible, that is, the contraction expansion takes place, and a periodic present variant is also there. So, what is the combined effects have been investigated in this investigation. The later problem of oscillatory flow and its effect on the mass transfer and separation of species was investigated by Thomas and Narayan recently, and that paper appeared in Physics of Fluids. Glasgow and RB investigated the problem with regard to the enhancement of microfluidic mixing using time pulsing, pulsatile blood flow, shear force energy dissipation, and Murray's law was investigated by Painter, Patrick Eden, and Benson. Recently, the problem of dispersion in steady and oscillatory flows through a tube with reversible and irreversible reactions. It was explored by Chuang and the analytical solutions for pulsatile viscous flow in a straight elliptic annulus and applications to the motion of the cerebrospinal fluid is reported by Gupta, Pololikas, and Barton. It's an interesting investigation. They have taken the human problem related to this one, cerebral fluid. They have analyzed the flow between elliptic annuli. This is the portion they have taken. The cross section is going to be elliptic in nature. You can see the region here. They have mapped this to elliptic annulus by using a elliptic coordinate system. Hydrodynamic pulsatile flow in a channel bounded by porous layers of smart material was studied by Rudraya and team. Laminar pulsating flow of nanofluids in a circular tube with the isothermal wall was investigated by, that the problem was investigated by Raskose, Ransvar, and Ramier. Ali et al. Studied the problem of the unsteady magnetohydrodynamic oscillatory flow of viscoelastic fluid in a porous channel with heat and mass transfer. The pulsating flow effects on hydrodynamic in a desalination membrane filled with spacers was studied by Soyers, Silva, and Montiero and the team. This is one interesting investigation by Verselli and the team. The pulsatile viscous flow in elliptic vessel and annuli. Solution to the inverse problem with application to blood and cerebrospinal fluid. That was fluid flow was investigated by this team, and the same problem they have analyzed, as mentioned in my previous slide. Some more developments took place in recent times. Study of pulsatile pressure-driven electroosmotic flows through an elliptic cylindrical microchannel with inhabit slip conditions was investigated by Chachard et al. Later, Keith Sharp, Kere, Brian Martin investigated the problem of dispersion in porous media in oscillatory flow between flat plates, applications to intraarterial, periarterial, and paraarterial solute transport in the central nervous system. Later, Raljak, Rian, and Renzik studied the pulsatile flow through idealized Reynolds tubules, fluid structure interaction, and dynamic pathologies. In a recent investigation, Okechi and Asgar investigated the oscillatory flow in a corrugated curved channel. This is more like a symmetric channel. You can see the walls are having different shapes. And if a curvature is also there, combined effects of this, they have presented this article. This paper appeared in Journal of Mechanics, B fluids. Later, Ali, Muhammad Umar, Bukhari, and Abbas studied the problem of pulsating flow of a micropolar Kazan fluid through a constricted channel influenced by a magnetic field and Dartian porous medium. They investigated the problem numerically. The results appeared in Results of Physics. Perturbation solution for pulsatile flow of a non-Newtonian fluid in a rock fracture using a logarithmic model was investigated by Tapra and Scarpi. Recently, a critical review on pulsating flow in conventional fluid and nanofluids, thermohydraulic characteristics appeared in international communications in heat mass transfer. The investigation was this article. This is presented by Mohammad Asafi, Mehdi, and the team, Torabi and Mazid. Later, pulsating poisonic flow in a cement slurry was investigated by Tao and the team. The impact of pulsating flows on particle deposition in forward osmosis with spacers was investigated by Andreas Kasti, Edobar Dew, and Spiller, and Thomas Sattelmaker. So you can see that a number of domains these people have covered, and papers are scattered in robust journals, starting from Nature to Royal Society London and so on. That clearly shows that the pulsating flows problem is of interest for scientists and engineers working in different disciplines. Let me just explain how the flow takes place in a tube. Assume that this is a variation of a Poisson flow through a tube of radius r. I'm taking only a tube, and I'm saying that the pressure gradient is a sinusoidal function of time, as described here in equation 1. Say pressure gradient. Biologically, it occurs from the heart pumping mechanism. Periodic pressure gradient will be developed, that you can take it as some function, some constant term plus sine terms, omega terms, and so on. So some authors will take this as for mathematical purpose in this form, some constant plus 1 plus epsilon into cos omega t or sin omega t. In general, they take it as e power I omega t. If cos omega t term is there, after the analysis is over, they take the real part of it. Sin omega t term is there. For analysis purpose, they take imagined part of the solution they get. So, in a tube without constriction or anything, if the flow is with a periodic pressure gradient, that problem can be modeled. The momentum equation reduces to this form: rho dou u by dou t, assuming that there is no velocity in other directions. So u is the velocity in the main direction only. So rho dou u by dou t is some function of t plus maybe this may be from the pressure gradient term. You can take it as some function of t plus mu by r into dou by dou r of r dou u by dou r. I'm using the cylindrical polar coordinate system. So if you want to study the flow distribution in the tube, so you have to solve this equation for u subject to the periodic pressure gradient. So how to find the solution? You can take it as a constant part plus epsilon into e power I omega t. Im stands for imaginary part. So into some function of r. So if I substitute u in this form, it comes to this particular structure. You can see that on rearrangement, it will come to a simple differential equation like I omega rho f plus 1 plus mu by r into dou by dou r of r into dou f by dou r. Okay, the boundary conditions are that velocity is 0 on the boundary Therefore, U on the boundary are equal to capital R. Capital R is the radius of the tube. So therefore, velocity on the boundary 0 is taken. So you have to solve this particular equation using that condition, 0. The maximum velocity occurs at the center of the channel because it is stress-free at the center of the tube. Therefore, mu to dou by dou r is 0 at r equal to 0. That condition also can be used. Now, on solving this particular equation, you can see that the solution comes to this particular form. Okay. Right. Yeah. Here, you have to find capital F. Okay. This capital F can be when you substitute this and group the like terms, you'll get an equation in F this way. This is nothing but your Bessel's equation. If you identify this, that is at BTech level, we'll be teaching differential equations like x square y double dash plus x y dash plus k square x square minus n square into y equal to 0. The solution of which is a j n x plus b y n x. If you identify this, this is going to be a Bessel function of order 0. Therefore, the solutions will be something like a j naught x plus b y naught x. So, since our physical variables should be bounded, terms like y naught, they have what you call, they are not defined at 0. Therefore, such terms we omit. Therefore, only terms containing Bessel functions will be taken. Therefore, the solution of this equation is going to come as f of r equal to 1 by. Let's not worry about how these terms are coming. Just I want to say that this is in the form of Bessel's equation. And if you solve this equation given in 7, it will come to this particular form. Okay. The other term plus b into that we need not consider. The only condition we have is this f is 0 on the boundary. Okay. Using this condition, you can find the value of a. If you use this condition, what is going to be our a? First of all, you substitute everything in u, this u naught term and f term, everything here, and use the condition that u on the boundary is 0. Then the solution is coming to this particular form. You can easily verify whether this is correct or not. When I take r equal to capital R, that is velocity on the boundary, if I take j naught will go away. This is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Similarly, when I take r equal to capital R, this is also 0. So u equal to 0 on the boundary, it is satisfying my requirement. This is the flow distribution in the case of a simple tube. This is oscillatory flow. I've just taken a pressure gradient, periodic pressure gradient. The moment equation boils down to a simple linear equation, it comes to a structure like a Bessel's equation of order 0. Terms like y naught I can drop because I want bounded solutions. Then if I estimate the constant, a simple solution I'm able to get for the velocity distribution in a tube. Okay, these people describe it as a blood flow in a artery, if artery is of circular nature. Now, when there is a constriction, slightly the problem will get modified. So let me just focus the same when there is a constriction. Constriction means a development, a small growth in the lumen of the artery. Now it is simply a tube. Inside there is no stenosis or constriction or anything. Okay. Now if there is a small growth or projection inside the lumen of the artery, say instead of tube, I just call it as artery. This is like a cylindrical tube. So the shape of the artery, I'm taking it as Rx by R naught equal to 1 minus epsilon by 2 R naught into 1 plus cos by X by D. This is the standard shape of the stenosis. It's a symmetry case. There are other several geometries for the shape of the stenosis, multiple stenosis. So many other cases also there. But fundamentally, the problem is going to be same. If you understand one, rest of the things can be analyzed without any difficulty. Here, Rx is the radius of the artery in the stenosed portion, and R naught is the radius of the artery. 2D is the length of the stenosis, and epsilon is the maximum height of the stenosis. Okay, this is the problem by Halter. Just I wanted to explain how the pulsating flow or oscillatory flow will be in the case of a constriction. Okay. Channel also we can study in a similar way, but less investigations are reported in tube. Therefore, my interest is to present some ideas pertaining to this. So the momentum equation boils down to this one. The velocity distribution in other directions we have not considered. Okay, it's like a laminar flow. So rho dou u by dou t is momentum equation reduces to this pressure, force, viscous forces, everything I have taken. If you some investigations, later investigations deals with body accelerations and so on. If such additives you want to bring, plus those terms also you have to add. That is rho into fx or fy, fz terms will be there. There you have to add the body acceleration terms. The problem is going to be same, more or less. So this particular equation with periodic pressure gradient I am taking. Therefore, dou p by dou x can be replaced by a term like a naught plus some a1 into e power I omega t. Cos omega t or sin omega t I can see at the end of the analysis. So, okay, and the boundary conditions are the velocity is 0 on the boundary. I am not assuming there is no slip or any other condition. It's just I am using a no slip condition. Other conditions, these conditions can be relaxed, but let's understand the problem first. Later, we can play with the terms. Then, since at the center of the channel, the maximum velocity occurs, therefore, dou u by dou r at the center is 0. This is another condition I can make use of. So, this equation is subjected to the conditions 14 and 15. Velocity is 0 on the boundary, and the maximum velocity occurs at the center of the channel. The similar conditions I have taken in the case of pulsating flow in a tube without stenosis. So the solution what we have got earlier will get simplified here. In a similar structured solution I will be getting. So this is the geometry of the stenosis. As I explained, 2D is the spread of the stenosis, L is the length of the tube, R is the radius of the stenosis, radius of the tube in the stenosis portion, R naught is the radius of tube, and so on. Fine. When I take the pressure gradient term and take the velocity in the form u bar y into e power I omega t, I use non-dimensional analysis, non-dimensional activity by taking y equal to r by r naught. So everything I can put it in terms of y, or without that we can put it in terms of r itself. So for simplicity, I expressed this in non-dimensional form. So this is a differential equation in u, and independent variable is y now. So conditions on u are given here. U is 0 on the boundary. What is the boundary? It is the stenosis portion r by r naught plus y equal to r by r naught. This small r will become capital R. Okay? The stenosis portion I am talking about. Similarly, dou u by dou y is 0 at the center. Now, taking velocity in this form u bar y into e power I omega t and the periodic pressure gradient. So now my problem boils down to investigating this u bar y. What is this u bar y? I have to find out. This pressure gradient I am assuming it's a periodic pressure gradient. So from this I can feel that the solution for velocity can be expressed in a similar structure. Therefore, I am taking it as u bar y into e power. Substitute making use of these two here in the given equation, it boils down to, that is in 16 you substitute 18. That this is what we are going to get. D square u by dy square plus 1 by y du bar by dy minus I beta u equal to r naught square by mu into p. It's a simple substitution. Okay. You can properly label the terms. Beta square is rho r naught square omega u. As per our convenience, we can take the terms. Okay, I'm calling this as beta. Here beta square is this term. Okay. Now this is similar to what we have seen the previous slide. It's like a Bessel equation. Of course, some non-homogeneous spot is also there. So solution goes like complementary function, particular integral, and so on. And this is a Bessel equation of order 0. Y naught terms I need not consider because I want bounded solutions. Okay. When I take the derivative of this y naught modified Bessel function of second kind by y, so it will have the term is not bounded at x equal to 0 or y equal to 0. Therefore, that term we don't consider. Okay. So simply it is a j naught beta y into I raised to 3 by 2. Okay. Solution is something like ei beta y you get. Minus 1 also I'm merging here, therefore I square. So I total I have I power 3 into beta. When I'm taking square root, it will come like this, beta by I raised to 3 by 2. Fine. So u bar y can find out, but solution corresponding to this part, non-homogeneous part in 19 also, I have given in 21. Okay. So when I you can verify whether this solution is satisfying our requirement or not. What is our requirement? So the velocity should be 0 on the boundary. That is when I take small r equal to capital R, this and this will go away. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So velocity is becoming 0 on the boundary. When I take the derivative, dou u by dou y should be 0. That is at the center of the shaft. When I take the derivative of this one, j naught will derivative is j1x. So j1x derivative terms contain j1x expansion. If you look at it, will be like x and so on, x and higher powers of x it will have. At 0, your j1x takes value 0. Therefore, dou u by dou y or dou u by dou r, if I take, this is becoming 0. So it is satisfying my requirement. What I have done is, after finding u bar y from this equation, I have substituted this one in the expression here. U of y equal to u bar y. Okay, whether I write this in terms of r or y, it is one and same, because that is what I have done here. U r t equal to p r naught square by I mu beta square into 1 minus j naught with this argument. Okay, j naught beta r by r naught into I raised to 3 by 2 by j naught beta capital R by r naught into I raised to 3 by 2 into e power n. This is the velocity in the stenosed portion. Now, this can be expressed in the real part. If cos omega t term is given pressure gradient, you can take the real part, otherwise imaginary part. That depends on the nature of, how you take the pressure gradient. So Haldar clearly explained how this real part, imaginary part can be taken. For this, you can use the reference of McLaughlin. Okay. Now, once you get this step, rest of the part is simple. If you want mass flux, yes, flux, if you want to find, it is 2 pi r into u integrated from 0 to capital R, that is boundary. Similarly, if you want the stress on the wall, you can find out. So that is what he's doing. You got the velocity, and mass flux is 2 pi u r dr 0 to r. So when u is already known to us, to substitute here and integrate. The recurrence relations, what we teach at our BTech level, that knowledge is enough to get the mass flux here. It is something like r into j naught you will get. When you integrate it, you will get that in terms of j1. So integration is not at all a problem. Using some simple reference relations, will get the results. Okay. So mass flux, you can get it. If you want real and imagined parts, you can do it. There are several ways of doing that. Some people write it in vessels, real vessels, imaginary terms like Barai by functions they will use. Others have used different, other different forms. Fine. Now, if you want the shear stress, yes, it is mu into dou u by dou r. U is known function now, so you can use this expression 32 to get the stress. Although he just has normalized this by dividing this by flux term. So he has calculated this. This we can find out is only a derivative term with respect to the independent variable of u. So q already we have constructed here by taking this expression 27. Therefore, you can get the normalized stress. Tau r by Q, you can get it. Okay. Now he has given the plots for this mass flux, velocity distribution, stress distribution, and so on by varying the heights of the stenasis and so on. One important factor in the study of pulsating flows is the resistive impedance that is defined as minus 2p by 2x by Q. So pressure gradient we know, Q just now we have calculated, ratio is your resistive impedance. So it is not difficult for us to get the expression for Z. This is known, and Q also we have calculated. That is integral 0 to Kepler. What is that? 0 to that expression I have given here. Here, 0 to Kepler UR dr into 2 pi. Okay. So he has analyzed the velocity distribution, mass flux, variation of mass flux by varying the frequency parameter beta. So you can see that different heights of the stenasis, epsilon by r 0 means it is just a flow through a tube. Okay, this is height of the stenasis. That is, projection is there inside. As it increases, the projection increases. What is happening? That is what it states. Now you can see that the mass flux is slowly falling here, and in certain portions there is not much variation, but in certain portions it varies drastically. The regions where it falls drastically is regions of interest. That is what it's saying. It shows that variation of the flow rate with frequency parameter. The figure demonstrates that. The dashed line, that is the line with epsilon by r equal to 0, is the solution given by Homersley. That is without stenasis. That is just a tube. And you can see that in all these cases, when beta is equal to 0, again, each curve attains a maximum flow rate. That is this one. Maximum is for the case beta equal to 0 in all these cases. So in certain, up to some value, it is almost the same, not much variation. But from 1 to 6 or 1 to 5, there is a drastic variation in the mass flux. So at beta equal to 0, each curve attains a maximum flow rate, and there is no appreciable change in the profile as beta increases up to a certain value, that is less than unit. But on and after, say, as beta exceeds the value, say exceeds 1, there is a steep fall in the y. So as beta exceeds this value, the volumetric flow rate changes significantly and then approaches the asymptotic value slowly. That is what you can observe here from the profile. As it goes, it just touches the right. So similar way, you can draw the graphs for the normalized impedance, shear stress, and so on by varying the heights of the stenasis. So you can see that with the impedance, the measure of resistance to the flow, is increasing as the frequency parameter, frequency of the hot pumping rather, it's increasing, right? And the impedance increases with the as the projection also. Projection the lumen increases. That is, as the height of the stenasis increases, impedance is also increasing. But as we have seen in the previous profile, up to certain value, not much variation. But in some portions from approximately up to 6 or 7, there is a drastic variation. So this increase is inappreciable in the range 0 less than or equal to beta less than or equal to 1, and appreciable in the range where the flow rate decreases rapidly. Now, if you look at the variation of the stress, you can see that he has given profiles with increasing heights of the stenasis. The stress increases with the as the frequency parameter increases. Similarly, as the projection, the lumen of the artery increases. That is, the height of the stenasis increases. The shear stress also increases. These are some conclusions you can draw from the graph of the stress profile. Okay, like this, some interesting conclusions can be drawn. If you understand this problem, many other problems related to body accelerations with the different shapes, you can understand the pulsating flow in the lumen of the artery. Similarly, phase lag also you can read, you can study. In his paper, he has given the how this phase lag is affecting the flow variables as frequency parameter increases. So this analysis one can read by downloading paper. Now what I want to say is that if you see the literature and the kind of the problems published, mathematical models are reported in the literature that are related to different shapes of the stenosis, cross sections like elliptic and so on, annular portions, cylindrical or channel and so on. And the flow conditions also change, like external body accelerations and so on. Then wall conditions also they have changed. Then different techniques people have adopted. Some people primary focus is to investigate analytically, and some people simulated the results, what is happening, how the flow distribution is taking place, and so on, by packages like CFD and so on. And many investigations are reported related to rheological models. Right. Now, in recent times, we have done a couple of problems in porous channel. Let me just give some outline. I may not be able to do the problem completely, but a speck of what I have done, I'm going to explain. Friends, am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, audible, sir.
Yeah, right. See, this problem is related to pulsating flow of non-Newtonian nanofluid in a porous channel with magnetic field. The stress-strain relation is given in equation 37. That's the constant equation for Eric-Powell model. Just we wanted to make the problem tractable. Therefore, this we have this terms we have approximated to a linear case the gradient this way as given in 38. Okay. It's very simple to understand. Sin h inverse x can be approximated by x. So the term what I have here, using that I can write it as 1 by c into dou v by dou x. So I'm taking the stress strain relation this way. So an approximation. I have seen a couple of investigations taking accounting the nonlinear factors also. That is in a way making the problem more complex to capture the nonlinear effects. So here, this is the flow geometry. Injection at one wall, suction at the other wall, and it is subjected to flow is subjected to a magnetic field. Flow is in the direction of y-axis. The flow is in the main direction, the direction of x, the x direction. Okay, and V equal to V naught I am taking. There is injection one wall and suction from the other wall. So this is the flow geometry. Under these conditions, the momentum conservation of mass momentum equations reduces to this one. Here, all investigation I am talking about oscillatory flows. Therefore, I am taking a periodic pressure gradient. Here, some people take it as A naught plus A1 into e power I omega t, because some nonlinear terms we are going to accommodate. Those who are going to accommodate the nonlinear effects, they have to take a small perturbation parameter. Here is the pressure gradient. The other models, they have taken them as linear models. Therefore, A naught plus A1 into e power I omega t, they will take. Those models which deals with the nonlinear terms, that parameter has to be attached to the pressure gradient. So rest of the part is same. Here, this A is the amplitude of the pressure gradient, rho is the density, and so on. P star is the pressure, omega is the frequency term, and so on. Of course, we don't have to worry how this pressure gradient is occurring. if it is in human system, a periodic pressure gradient will be developed due to the heart pumping mechanism of the heart. Any biomedical fluid problem, if you take in artery and so on, this term they take it as they will take it as granted, right? So under certain conditions, we can write the simplify the momentum equation. Some conditions we have taken, like we have applied a Cartesian coordinate system. The lower plate we have taken with one temperature, higher upper plate we have taken with a different temperature, something like T1, and T1 is greater than T0. A uniform magnetic field of strength V0 is applied perpendicular to the plates. Fluid is injected with a velocity V0 through the lower wall and sucked out through the upper wall. Plates are infinitely extended, infinite length. So all physical quantities except the pressure may be taken as functions of y and c1. So under these conditions, you can see that the momentum equations, conservation of mass equation, I don't have to worry, because dou v by dou x plus dou v by dou y, that term will go away. Dou v by dou x equal to 0. That says that u is a function of y alone. Therefore, other terms derivatives with respect to x will be vanished, and the momentum equation get something like v into dou v by dou y term. So v you are replacing it by v naught. So this is the flow equation for the porous channel case. Okay, and this is related to rheology part, magnetic field which comes from the orange term, and so on. All these terms properly we have accommodated. Radiative heat flux, and those terms also we have taken here. Radiative heat transfer, heat flux term, everything. The boundary conditions, when we have to solve these equations subject to the conditions that velocity is 0 on the at the walls, okay, equal to 0 at the upper wall, equal to 0 at the lower wall, and at the lower wall temperature, the plate or wall I'm taking it as T0, and for the upper one I'm taking it as T1. Now when using these conditions, now you can give meaning to all these terms. What I will give NF. NF is for nanofluid, and if I simply write it as F, it is for fluid case. Okay, all these terms have. I mean, we can give physical meaning. Is in those expressions, U naught V naught represents velocity. Mu is the dynamic viscosity of the nanofluid. Whenever there is a N. Sigma NF is electrical conductivity of the nanofluid. T star is the temperature of the fluid. That is the temperature equation also I have taken. Energy equation. Fine. And KNF is the thermal conductivity of the nanofluid. Similarly, rho Cp NF is the heat capacitance of the nanofluid. Q naught is the quotient of the heat source term. That is here I'm taking the heat source term here. This one. Then Q naught is the radiative heat flux. So these are, like this, every term can be defined. Now, using the physical characteristics of the nanofluids, I'm defining some terms like A1, A2, A3, A4, this as described in 44. Okay, and thermophysical properties of the base fluid and nanoparticles, we can get it from the literature. These properties, I am making use of values. I'm making use of for blood, gold, that is Rm, and alumina, L2O3. For numerical analysis discussion purpose, these terms you can take them as granted because these results are reported in the literature by experimentalists. Now, by using the Rosland approximation for radiative heat flux, QR, defined as QR equal, and that I have described it in 45. There, the sigma star and K star, that is their Stephen Boltzmann constant and mean absorption coefficients. Then I'm approximating this nonlinear term T power 4 as a linear function of temperature. That is expanding T star T power 4 about T1 using Taylor series expansion and neglecting higher order terms, we get t power 4 can be approximated by this term given in 46 4 t1 cube t star minus 3 t1. Right. Making use of this in energy equation here, which is given in 41. Okay, that boils down to a equation like this. So there are some nonlinear terms here. Okay, so I have used the non-dimensional scheme in terms of the defined non-dimensional variables. The equations can rewrite this way. It's given in 49, 50, 50. That is pressure gradient term, momentum equation, and energy equation. Everything I am putting it in terms of y. So your variables are functions of y and t. Here a1, a2, a3, they are all variables, known variables. Right. Now, in terms of the boundary conditions are u equal to 0, theta equal to 0 at one wall, and u equal to 0 and theta equal to 1 at the other wall. Using here, h is your frequency parameter, r is the cross flow Reynolds number. Here, capital R, h is the Hartmann number, Prandtl number, Eckert number, and so on. Every term can be physically spelled out. Right. Here is a Prandtl number, this is the Eckert number, this is the heat source parameter, and so on. Now coming to the solution aspect, I'm taking U naught as, because pressure gradient you have some term plus epsilon into some other term. So that motivates us to take or express the variable u this way, u naught y plus epsilon u1 y into e power I sigma t. Similarly, theta is theta naught plus epsilon theta 1 plus epsilon square theta 2, and so on. If I'm correct, even if you take up to this second order term, epsilon square into u2, if you take, I think u2 will reduces to 0 if I'm correct. Okay, so we have not considered that term. Now with this assumption, now what is that we have to find? U naught, u1, theta naught, theta 1, theta 2 we have to find. So substitute 54, 55 in the non-dimensional form of the equations that governs the flow, that is momentum and energy equations. You will get a system of equations. If you substitute them, the expression, and collecting different powers of epsilon, we get 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. Okay, these are the equations we will be getting. So the conditions on non-homogeneous conditions, if any, we take that in u naught or theta naught, and homogeneous conditions we take it on the other terms. For example, u naught is 0, theta naught is 0. We are taking, okay, but u1 velocity is 0 on the boundary, other boundary, but theta naught equal to temperature is 1, T is 1 at the upper wall. So that condition we are taking it in the theta naught term, and rest of the unknowns, the temperature or velocity, we take it as 0, homogeneous conditions. Okay, and these assumptions given in 6162 will satisfy our boundary conditions. That is, velocity is 0 at both the conditions, and temperature at the lower wall will be 0, temperature at the upper wall will be 1. Now, there are simple differential equations of second order. Knowledge of this calculus is enough to get the solutions for u naught, e1, theta naught, theta 1, theta 2, and so on. First, you solve your u naught term from this. It's a simple second order equation. Okay, and after getting u naught, you put it in the expressions like here, wherever you need, and solve for theta naught. That is how the solution goes. So it is possible to find u naught, u1, theta naught, theta 1, theta 2, and all these unknowns you can find out. Once you know u naught, u1, theta naught, theta 1, theta 2 with the relevant boundary conditions, you incorporate them here in 54 and 55 to get the solution for solution that governs the flow. So that is what exactly we did here. Solving 56, 57, 58, 59 and 60. And we are solving those equations with the conditions 61 and 62, incorporating the results thus obtained in 54 and 55. You get the velocity and temperature distributions as given here. The expressions for U naught, U1, theta naught, theta 1, theta 2, everything is given here. Okay. So once these velocity and temperature distribution are known, the rest of the analysis without any problem with them. For example, Nusselt number, the rate of heat transfer we can find out. That is given here, the expression 68. 8 is simply some constant A4, which I have defined earlier, temperature gradient. If you want at the lower wall, you take y equal to 0. If you want upper wall, you take that as y equal to 1. So that is how you can for Nusselt number. Flux and other things also you can find out. If you want a flux term, say if the width of the channel is h0 to h u dy, you have to take. Okay. If it is a tube, we are taking it as 2 pi r u dr 0 to r. So once these variables are known, you can find out heat flux, shear stress, Nusselt number, all these quantities you can find out. Now we have done some numerical work. I'm not going to explain about all the figures. Just I want to show what we have done. We have plotted the profiles for velocity distribution, okay, with how it is changing with the magnetic field and effect of K naught. For two particles, that is alumina and gold, that is Rm. For two nanoparticles, we have explained here. You can see that with the increase of h, the flow velocity reduces. Okay? And for Rm, you can see that there is a greater velocity and a temperature when compared with the aluminum. Similarly, the velocity distribution varying, that is frequency parameter. Here, this is its frequency parameter and K naught. That is rheological parameter. This is varying with magnetic parameter, and how the velocity distribution is varying also we have discussed in our paper. If you want these two papers, I can send it, but due to time limitation, because they have given me 1 hour 15 minutes, so I want to complete everything in time. So with regard to the volume fraction, how the velocity distribution is taking place for two different particles, we have plotted here in figure 3. Similarly, unsteady distribution of with respect to the physical variables also we have given how it is changing with frequency. That is omega t or t, whatever the way you take. If you are taking it as omega t, fixed omega value, then t is changing. So you can see how the velocity profile is changing, the magnitude of velocity, how it is changing, presented in our analysis. Similarly, the temperature distribution for Al2O3, that is alumina and Rm, we have given it for the effect of phi and effect of radiation term and heat flux we have presented in figure 5. How it is changing, we have presented in our analysis. For the benefit of the participants, if you want, I can send these two papers. Complete description is one can find in that. So the unsteady temperature distribution for Al2O3 also we have presented. So the unsteady temperature distribution for alumina Rm is changing. The unsteady temperature part. Unsteady means only that are time dependent. How it is changing with Q, frequency parameter, and so on. I given the rate of heat transfer also we have analyzed. Right. Some of the conclusions are, in a nutshell, the hydromagnetic pulsating flow of airing nanofluid in porous channel, thermal radiation has been investigated in this. We have taken blood is considered as base fluid, which is non-Newtonian fluid, and the nanoparticles chosen are Al2O3 and R. The results show that the velocity of the nanofluid decreases with increasing Hartmann number, nanoparticle volume fraction. The temperature of the nanofluid increases for given increase in nanoparticle volume fraction, radiation parameter, and heat source parameter, while decreases with increasing Hartmann number. The other interpretations one can find in the paper. The heat transfer rate at the lower wall increases with increasing nanoparticle volume fraction and with increasing heat source. As a hydrodynamic case, the results can be covered by taking m value 0. The results for Radhakrishnemacharya, I think, it can be obtained by suppressing these terms from our analysis. That is, phi is 0, m is 0, there is no magnetic field, radiation term, and the fluid is taken as Newtonian fluid. So if these terms are removed, our results converge to the results of Radhakrishnemacharya. So these are some of the important results from our analysis, but the results are discussed at length in the paper, which I'll pass it on to the convener. Interested authors, participants, they can collect those papers. Similarly, the pulsating flow of hydrodynamic airing nanofluid through vertical porous channel also we have investigated. The problem is more or less same. Only thing is this is a vertical channel. Rest of the part definition is almost same. That is, there is a suction injection from one wall, suction from the other wall. Magnetic field is subjected to a magnetic field, and so on. The momentum equations we have given. Only thing is the buoyancy effect will come in addition to what we have studied there. The rest of the part is almost same, but here we have taken the conditions like the slip velocity we have taken, temperature slip we have not taken. Temperature is 0 at temperature T is T0 at one wall, T1 is at the other wall, as we have taken the previous case. Okay. The rest of the part is almost similar. Okay. We have taken this with different nano particles, and basically we have taken it as blood. For analysis purpose, we have taken these values for density, CPK, and so on. Using the non-dimensional scheme, those equations, governing flow equations reduces to 76 and 77, quantum equation and energy equation. L is the slip parameter. In addition to this, we are getting this one also, L. And the Grashof number also will get in addition to this. Fine. So the analysis is almost the same. UIT, you are taking it as U0 plus epsilon into U1 y into e power I sigma t. Theta is theta naught plus epsilon theta 1 y into e power I p. We are using a perturbation technique here. So substituting this in the equations, governing flow equations, and collecting like terms like powers of epsilon, you will get a system of ordinary differential equations as described in 80 to 83. So if you know the solution for this 82, right? So these conditions we have to solve. Those equations we have to solve using these conditions. U0 is L into naught dash. Okay. One is this one. Theta naught is 0 and theta 1 equal to 0 at y equal to 0. Similarly, the other conditions. So solution mechanism is going to be similar to that of the previous case. Once you get the solution for theta and u, stress heat transfer rate can be estimated. Okay. Just to validate our results, cannot compare with any experimental work because such a works are, at least for to my knowledge, they are not available. Therefore, with our results, whatever results that we have compared using a numerical method, the results what we got with the analytical methods we have compared, our results are almost matching. Therefore, we have proceeded with the other discussion part. Okay. Error also we have given here, so almost negligible. So once you get this, like any other fluid dynamics problem, you can go for the velocity distribution, temperature distribution, for unsteady temperature profiles. With respect to all the physical variables you can analyze, like Grashof number, what is that called, a slip parameter, those things we can study. P36, okay. So this is for velocity distribution and temperature distribution with how it is changing with the slip parameter. These two papers I'm going to share it to the convener. Interested participant, they can collect it from the persons. So this is effect of volume fraction on velocity and temperature distribution. Similarly, how this magnetic field is influencing the velocity and temperature distribution we have estimated for the two different values of slip parameters 0 and 0.1 and so on. The analysis is almost similar like any other fluid dynamics problem. These parameters, all inherent parameters that we come across in that arise in the problem, we explore their effect on the physical variables like temperature, velocity, Nusselt number, and so on. I think cannot be further. Similarly, with respect to the different parameters, by varying the different parameters, how this rate of heat transfer rate occurs at both the walls, left wall and right wall that we have tabulated. Okay? And the important results we have analyzed that particular paper. So our analysis indicates that RM blood nanofluid has higher velocity and temperature than other nanoparticles. That is, other nanoparticles we consider silver, copper, and alumina. Then, fine, the velocity and temperature of the fluid increases with increasing Eckert number, Grashof number, radiation parameter, and the reverse trend we have observed in case of K1 and Reynolds number. Increase in the applied magnetic field enhances the fluid temperature at the suction wall. There are two walls, one is the ejection wall, right side one is the suction. So increase in the applied magnetic field enhances the fluid temperature at the suction wall and reduces at the injection wall. These are some of the conclusions we have derived. As a nanoparticle volume fraction increases, so does the temperature. The unsteady temperature and unsteady velocity enhance a rise in a frequency parameter because we are taking hot pumping mechanism. This is a frequency parameter. Its influence is explored. So the unsteady temperature and unsteady velocity enhance. Velocity enhances with a rise in frequency parameter. But both the temperature and velocity profiles exhibit an oscillating character. Fine. These are some observations. We can discuss in detail, including physics part. Some conclusions, interesting conclusions we have presented in the paper that we have published. So we are working in this direction. Some of the papers we have published in this direction are, say, this one, pulsating hydromagnetic flow of Kazan fluid in vertical channel filled with non-Darcy force parameter. Then these two papers I am talking about. this one and this one. These are the two papers I presented. A note on the pulsatile flow of hydromagnetic airing nanofluid through vertical porous channel, which appeared recently European Physical Journal. These two papers I am going to share to the convener so that they can pass on to other investigations. Some of my team members. This paper appeared in Journal of Mechanics. This one is a material today proceedings. Pulsating flow of a non-Newtonian nanofluid porous channel magnetic field. So, another paper. This is with Kalyan Kumar. Pulsating flow of Kazan fluid in a porous channel, the thermal radiation reaction and applied magnetic. And this paper is by Kalyan Kumar. This is a scholar under my guidance. So he published this paper in Engineering Transactions. This is communications in applied analysis. Chemical reaction and the radiation effect on HD pulsatile flow of an polarized B flow product in a porous medium with a slip and convective body conditions. This investigation appeared in Journal of Porous Media and so on. This is a study on hydromagnetic pulsating flow of a nanofluid in a porous channel with a thermal radiation. This is also one interesting investigation by Vijay Lakshmi, A. Vijay Lakshmi. Yeah, like this, some investigations we have published. And these are the selected references. Some of the so if you have any, because time given is 1 hour, so I want to conclude within the time stipulated. I hope I have not exceeded my time. Is that right, Dr. Sumati ma'am? Dr. Sunita ma'am?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hope I have not exceeded.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Any queries? Any queries, ma?
Unmute all the
Any queries? Sir, there is no questions in chat box, sir. Thank you for your informative and very interesting lecture on MHD auxiliary flows in a porous channel. Sir, very thank you so much for elaborating so many body auxiliary models also. Sir covered Poisson flow and suction and injection parameter, how to extend that the functions also discussing this paper. Thank you so much, sir. So many engineering students are engineering students and engineering mathematical faculty is there, sir. Definitely they are taken this research work. It is very useful for their research. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and giving the very nice lecture. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much once again for this opportunity. I feel my duty if I don't thank my research scholars, Kalyan Kumar, M. Padma Devi, and Subramanian Reddy, for their help in preparing the slides. Because we are with a hectic academic schedule, they helped me on time. Thanks to them and thanks to you for giving me some room to interact with participants. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone.
Okay, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Now, continue the validity function. I request Dr. L. Madhavi to welcoming the delegates of the validity function.
Sir, Shankar sir? Shankar sir?
Hello.
Sir? మీ వీడియో ఆన్ చేస్తారా సార్ శంకర్ సార్?
హలో మేడం చేశాను.
ఓకే ఓకే సార్, ఇట్స్ విజిబుల్ సార్.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening to all. On behalf of the organizing team, I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the valedictory function of the 1-week virtual international lecture workshop on new advances in mathematical and computational sciences. I take this opportunity once again to welcome you all. Respected dignitaries, Honorable Vice Chancellor Surya Kalavati Madam, Registrar Vijay Raghav Prasad Sir, In-charge Principal Chandramati Shankar Madam, resource persons of all the 6 days, our beloved head and workshop chairperson, Professor T. Vasanthi Madam, conveners, Dr. Sunita Madam and Dr. Sridhar Sir, members, Dr. Katyayani, Dr. Srinivas Reddy Garu, participants from various universities, research scholars and students, special invitation to the IT team and print and electronic media. I once again welcome you all and grace the valedictory function. Now, the convener, Dr. Sunita, will read out the scientific report of all these 6 days. Thank you.
Good evening to one and all. I'm very happy to present the scientific report of this 1-week virtual international lecture workshop on new advances in mathematical and computational sciences from 13th September to 18th September. Dr. G. Katyayani Madam welcomed all the participants, delegates, resource persons for the inaugural session. As a convener, I have conveyed the theme and objectives of the workshop. Then it was started with the opening remarks by our Honorable Vice Chancellor of YVU, Professor M. Surya Kalavati Garu, followed by the addresses of the special invitees, Professor D. Vijay Raghav Prasad Garu, Registrar of YVU, Professor P. Chandramati Shankar Garu, Principal in charge of YVU College, Professor S. Raghunath Reddy Garu, Vice Principal YVU College, and Professor T. Vasanthi Garu, Head, Chairperson of this workshop, Department of Applied Mathematics. Dr. B. Srinivasa Reddy briefly presented the profile of Dr. N. Sheshagiri Rao, Associate Professor, Adama Science and Technology University, Adama, Ethiopia. Sir delivered lecture on mathematical modeling of the dynamical behavior of a 3-species ecosystem consisting of 2 competitive prey and a predator with a hauling type 2 functional response. The inaugural session was closed with vote of thanks by Dr. M. Sridhar Babu, co-convener of this workshop. The second day session was started by Dr. M. Sridhar Babu by introducing the speaker, Dr. Raja Das, with Vellore, Tamil Nadu. Dr. Raja Das presented a lecture on applications of mathematics in deep learning. The third day session was started by Dr. S. Sunita with the introduction of the speaker, Dr. Rizwan Ul Haq Sati, Associate Professor from Pakistan. Sir delivered a lecture on mathematical modeling and simulation of nanofluids enclosed in a partially heated trapezoidal cavity, finite element method approach. The fourth day session was started by Dr. L. Madhavi with the introduction of the speaker, Professor E. Keshav Reddy, Professor, JNTU College of Engineering, Anantapur. Applications of statistics and a linear algebra for data science was the topic presented by Professor E. Keshav Reddy sir. The fifth day session was started by Dr. M. Sridhar Babu with the introduction of the speaker, Dr. B. Preeta, Assistant Professor from Tamil Nadu. She presented brainstorming using machine learning algorithms in data science research. The sixth day session was started by Dr. G. Katyayani with the introduction of the speaker, Professor S. Srinivas sir, Professor with Amaravati, Andhra Pradesh. Sir gave a detailed picture of the pulsating flow in a channel. These scientific deliberations are successful because of the eminent resource persons taking part and also equal overwhelming response from the scientific community, and also the academic discipline maintained during the session is laudable. Now I request Dr. M. Sridhar Babu sir to introduce today's chief guest, Professor G. Shankar Shekhar Raju garu.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Dr. V. Shankar Raju sir. He completed his MSc, MPhil, PhD from SV University Tirupati He worked as associate professor and head in the Department of Mathematics in JNTU College of Engineering, Pulivendala. Right now, he is our principal of JNTU College of Engineering, Pulivendala. He worked as TechCube 2 project coordinator, and he worked as a chairman of Board of Studies. And he attended AICT expert committee visits as a member of academician. Under his guidance, 8 PhDs and 1 MPhil awarded, and he published more than 50 publications in reputed national and international journals. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I will request our chief guest, Professor G. Shankar Shekhar Raju, sir, to say a few words on this occasion.
Okay, thank you, madam, for a nice introduction. Thank you, sir. So, respected Professor T. Vasanthi, madam, convener of this program, chairperson of the program, and convener Dr. S. Sunita, madam, and co-convener Dr. M. Sridhar Babu, and members Dr. L. Madhavi, and organizing committee members, and my dear participants, a very good afternoon to one and all. Actually, it is really a great honor to me and a privilege to be a part of this valedictory function. So at the outset, I congratulate all the participants. So for your enthusiastic participation in the 1 week virtual international lecture workshop on the new advances in mathematical and computational sciences. And I also congratulate all the organizers, even in the great pandemic situation, you have successfully organized this workshop. So really, once again, I congratulate all the organizing team for your enthusiastic interest to organize this type of workshops. So participation in the programs like this would sharpen your intellect and keeps ready to explore new horizons. I hope all the sessions were very informative. So the discussed areas are a great benefit to the participants as the topics match with the present scenario. And I hope the participants were educated on the most widely used advanced strategies. So in this present education system, you have to give more importance to the advanced technology methods, so rather than the traditional methods. So in this technological advanced era, all of you know that education system is day-to-day changing. So definitely we have to gone through this type of programs to prove academic achievements as well as to enrich our students with more knowledge from the advanced learning methods. So this type of programs was immensely useful to improve your academic achievements as well as the way how can you bring the things informatively for your students in a better manner. So I'm requesting all the participants, so make you can utilize these opportunities and explore the ideas what you are learned in this program to your workplace. So definitely that gives the more useful by organizing these programs. Now I hope this workshop must have left unforgettable memories to all the participants, and I feel it is a privilege to associate myself with this workshop. So finally, I am very much thankful to the Chief Patron, Professor Surikalavati Madam, Vice Chancellor, YVU, and the organizing committee of this workshop for making me a part of this event. And I'm very much thankful to all the members. So my best wishes to all the participants, and thank you one and all. And thank you, Madam. Thank you, Sridhar, for giving me this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice words about the workshop. And we hope that in future also we'll conduct such workshops with all the support of the participants and the other resource persons who have supported for us all these 6 days. So we hope we'll conduct some more in future, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Now I request Dr. Katyani madam and Sridhar sir, Srinivas Reddy sir, and myself, a felicitation to our chairperson, Professor T. Vasanthi Madam garu. Today's felicity.
Thank you very much.
So madam is the senior most professor in our department and she is a state best teacher awardee and former registrar, former principal, head of the department, BOS, Dean of Sciences. So she, madam served several positions in our university.
Congratulations.
Today's chairperson of this workshop. So it's a token of love we have felicitated madam. Thank you madam for accepting our felicitation. Thank you once again. Now feedback from the participants. Feedback from the participants.
Good evening, madam.
Nagendra.
Yes, madam. Dr. Nagendra.
Nagendra అని చూడండి. చదువు.
So Nagendra.
Yes, madam. Myself, Dr. N. Nagendra, Professor of Mathematics at Sri Sai
Nagendra, are you ready?
College of Science.
Are you ready to give the feedback, ma?
Yes, ma'am. Ready.
Nagendra, it's not audible,
madam.
ma.
Yes, madam. It is your voice is audible,
Ivala?
madam.
మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నాడేమో.
లేదు.
Madam, your voice is audible, madam.
You are-
Good evening, Raju sir.
Hello.
Madam, madam, is it audible, madam?
Nagendra.
Yes, madam. Is it audible?
చెప్తున్నానే అండి.
Madam,
It
it
is
is
not
audible.
audible,
Madam.
Nagendra.
Yes, it's audible.
Yes, madam.
It's audible.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Now, the program is very
Nagendra.
nice. Yes, madam. Can I start, madam?
So next, any other participant? Sir, Dr. Om Prakash, sir.
Good evening, madam. The course, the FDP is excellent, madam. All are related to the topic and very useful. Thanks a lot, madam.
Sir, Om Prakash, sir.
I am speaking. Hello.
Sumulata madam, voice is. Sunita madam.
Hello.
Sunita madam, voice is clear.
Hello.
Hello, Om Prakash, sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Now audible, sir.
The course is very excellent, madam. All are related to the present trends and it is very useful. Thanks a lot, madam.
Thank you, sir.
I am
Nagendra?
Yes, madam, it is audible, madam.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Yes, yes, thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Now, respected chairperson of the 1 week online program, Madam Vasanti madam, and staff members for YV University and participants. Good evening to all. Now the program is very nice. How you selected for various resource persons came from various places and choose the topics are very nice, madam. Nowadays, every mathematician, not only mathematician, any engineering graduate having such a type of topics, so that your choosing the topics are very nice, and resource persons has delivered their lecture very nicely, so that I congratulate to everyone. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nagendra.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other? Somebody is there? Hello? Is there any other participant?
Hello.
Hello?
Good
Ma'am, tell me,
afternoon,
ma'am.
ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
मैम मेरा नाम काजल केशरी है और मैं आप लोगों से कुछ कहना चाहती हूँ कि मैम आपने जो ये सेशन रखा 1 वीक का वेबिनार सर मैम आपने बहुत अच्छा किया जो कि मुझे नॉलेज मिल सका यस मैम थैंक यू सो मच
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Shukriya, बहुत शुक्रिया.
थैंक्स अ लॉट मैम
Okay. Any other?
My voice is audible to you?
Yeah. It's audible.
I am Dr. Venkatraman working in Sastra University, Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
So this session is very, very useful, and also this will be highly useful for the researchers. And you have covered all the latest topics, for example, neural network and applied mathematical sciences, and also in fluid flow problems also. So this is highly useful, and I say this will be highly useful for both the teachers and researchers also. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Venkatramana, sir. Thank you for nice compliments about this one.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Can we come?
Next. Now we'll proceed for vote of thanks.
Good evening, madam.
Yeah. Good evening. Who is there? Pradeep. Okay.
Madam, this is Pradeep Kumar, madam, a research scholar under your guidance.
Okay.
Good evening to one and all.
Okay, ma'am.
From day one to up to today, I thoroughly participated in all the sessions, madam.
Okay.
And ఇక్కడ మనం ఓన్లీ వన్ పర్టికులర్ స్ట్రీమ్ లోనే కాకోకుండా ప్రతి కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ న్యూరల్ నెట్వర్క్స్ ఫ్లూయిడ్ డైనమిక్స్ అండ్ లీనియర్ ఆల్జీబ్రా ప్రతి స్ట్రీమ్ అండ్ హౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇంటర్రిలేటెడ్ టు ఈచ్ అదర్ అండ్ ఒక రీసెర్చ్ స్కాలర్ కి అంటే ఎన్ని డైవర్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి మనం ఎలా రీసెర్చ్ చేయొచ్చు ఎలా మనం వాటిని కన్వర్ట్ చేయొచ్చు అనేది క్లియర్ గా బాగా అనిపించింది మేడం ప్రతి సెషన్ కూడా నాకు So that's why I felt very happy for following this international seminar, madam. Thank you very much.
Okay, ma. Okay, thank you. Because the title of the workshop is itself the new advances in mathematical and computational sciences. Because most of the people, mathematics means just problem solving like that they think, but this is the basis for all other sciences like computer science, and that only we have to know. So by this, I think most of the participants, they have known about that one.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much, madam.
Now we'll proceed for vote of thanks. Respected dignitaries, distinguished invitees, my dear faculty members of the campus and other universities of India and other countries, esteemed participants, IT and network facilitators, print and electronic media, a very good evening to all. I am very much privileged to propose a vote of thanks on this valedictory session of International Lecture Workshop. On behalf of the organizing committee and on my own behalf of this workshop, I profusely thank our chief guest of the valedictory function of this workshop, Professor GSS Raju sir, Principal, JNTU College of Engineering, Pulivendala, AP, for his gracious presence in spite of his busy schedule and also a wonderful message to the participants. Thank you very much, sir. I thank the university authorities for encouraging us to take up this laborious academic venture. From the bottom of my heart, I sincerely thank all the resource persons of this workshop for their kind-hearted support, which really fetched the quality of this webinar. My sincere thanks to all my beloved colleagues for their support for smooth running of this workshop. I have no words to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude to all the esteemed fraternity and participants for attending the workshop and sharing workshop flyer. Thanks is not enough, but there is no substitution for this. Hence, we are all thankful and grateful to all the participants. I express my sincere gratitude to IT and network team, Professor Nazir Ahmad sir, Rakib, and my special thanks to Anil Kumar for their entire efforts to make the program in time and successful. Thank you all. I thank sincerely to the print and electronic media, Dr. S.V. Subbareddy sir, Dr. Suresh, Mr. Iranna, Mr. Nagaraju, Mr. Obaleshu, and other journalists in all time support and share our activities up to date to improve our university name and fame throughout India and other nations. Thank you very much all. Last but not least, I thank all supporting teaching and non-teaching staff for their efforts in making programs successful. Thank you all. I thank each and everyone who are supported and encourages us to conducting this program, and excuse me if I miss anyone in expressing my gratitude. Once again, thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I wish all have a nice day. Thank you all. Now, National Anthem. Jai Hind. I request all the participants to